Let's familiarize ourselves with Indian society. Indian society is old and complex. It is 5,000 years old. During this long period, waves of immigrants representing different ethnic strains, religious faiths, and linguistic families merged into its population to contribute to its diversity, richness, and vitality. While talking about the diversity of India, in India you will find the past, the present, and the future living together. Several levels of social evolution coexist in contemporary India. On the one hand, we find primitive hunters, food gatherers, shifting cultivators, nomads, settled agriculturists, artisans, landed and aristocracies of ancient lineage representing the past of the country. On the other hand, we find modern academic, bureaucratic, industrial, and scientific elites representing the present and the future of our social system. Diversity doesn't end with this. We find most of the major religions of the world in India. And these religions, in turn, are divided into cults and sects with different orientations and beliefs and rituals. In the process of its evolution, Indian society has acquired a composite culture characterized by stable patterns of pluralism. To the question with regard to the earliest inhabitants of India, we do not have sufficient reliable records. The oral history is subject to additions and subtractions. Archaeology does bring in new information, but that information is not sufficient. The racial diversity of India, or the original or earliest inhabitants of India, has been discussed and spoken about by various scholars. Physical anthropology provides us with the information regarding the ethnic elements, that is, the racial groups in the population of India. Before we start talking about the various types of racial groups in the Indian population, let us make an attempt to understand the meaning of the term race. The term race refers to the genetically transmitted physical characteristics of different groups. That is to say, the physical characteristics that we inherit biologically determines the race that we belong to. While talking about the racial diversity of India, several ethnographers were fascinated by it. Herbert Ressley, the British ethnographer, in his book The Peoples of India, called India an Ethnological Museum. B.S. Guha's classification of the 6 major racial elements in Indian population is widely accepted and most authoritarian because it is based on the anthropometric surveys conducted as part of 1931 census. The 6 racial elements as discussed by B.S. Guha are the Negrito, the Proto-Australites, the Mongolites, the Mediterraneans, the Western Brachycephals, and the North. Let us begin talking about each one of them in brief. The earliest arrivals or autochthons, according to B.S. Guha, are the Negrito, the Proto-Australites, and the Mongolites. The Negritos are confined to the small pockets in the south, the Kadar, the Irula, the Panian. In the Andaman Islands, the Onge and Andamanis have Negrito characteristics. Some traits of this group are found among the Angami Nagas and the Badagi of the Rajmahal Hills. There is not much information about the contribution of Negrito elements to the cultural tapestry of India. The Proto-Australites are numerically more significant. Most of the tribes of Middle India belong to it. The Indo-Aryans describe them with all derogatory terms such as Anas, Dasa, Dasyut, and Nishad. The Mongolites are divided into Paleo-Mongolites and Tibeto-Mongolites. The tribal groups in the Himalayan region and those in the northeast are of the Mongolite stock. Some Mongolite features are seen in the non-Mongolide population of eastern states like Assam, West Bengal, Manipur, and Tripura. These ethnic groups are regarded as autochthonous. Mediterraneans are associated with the Dravidian languages and cultures. The racial stock seems to be related to Caucasian physical type, that is white race. They normally have a short stature, long head, slender build. The Mediterranean race has three major subdivisions: Paleo-Mediterranean, Mediterranean, and Oriental. Of these three subdivisions, Mediterraneans have contributed much to the culture of India. Western Brachycephals, the broad-headed. It is believed that this racial group came into India from the west and have their association with that of the European regions. This group has three subdivisions: the Alpinide, the Dinaric, and the Armenide. Alpinide and Dinaric characteristics are seen in some groups of northern and western India. The Parsis belong to the Armenide section. The Nordics were the last major ethnic group to arrive in India and make a profound impact on its culture and society. Nordics are characterized by tall stature, long hair, fair skin, light hair, and blue eyes. They are described as the Aryans and the Sanskrit speaking people. They swept into North India in 2000 BC. What we have to keep in mind while discussing the racial groups in India is that there are no pure races today. There is an admixture of almost all the major racial groups due to amalgamation and intermarriage between the different racial groups. Therefore, no rigid demarcation of race is possible. What we can do is demarcate ethnic zones according to the predominance of racial elements.